This meeting is being recorded.
Oh, there we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are live. Oh, I can't. Okay, wait. I was looking for my little Zoom panel, but we are in here. How exciting! Everyone's rolling in. I'm super pumped for this webinar. It is so perfect, and I can't believe we were talking like months ago about this. And we're like, January 2023. This is a perfect webinar for this, and now here we are. It's already time. It's the last day of January. It's insane. So really awesome. But I just want to welcome everybody here. I will introduce Sandra in just a moment, our speaker today. But really quick, though, we just always want to see, where is everyone coming in from? So I see Sarah's coming from Utah, Alabama, New Mexico, and hopefully everyone's warm. I know it's like really cold a lot of places, even in Texas. There's like ice storms. So hopefully everyone's safe and staying warm. Yep, freezing Texas. Halifax, Houston, Playa del Carmen. Can we switch spots? That sounds awesome. Sounds wonderful there. -4 in South Dakota. Brutal. Some California. So Sandra's in California too. Or yeah. So where are you in Los Angeles?
I am today.
Awesome. Yeah, today you will be, and then another place later. But yeah, so awesome. And it's just so cool to see everyone from all over the world joining us and taking the time out to join us here as well. But I want to dive right in. I want to give Sandra as much time as possible here. So really quick, I always just like to introduce myself, just if you're new to Travefy Academy. I'm Stephanie Grice, an education manager here at Travefy. And if this is your first time joining us for a Travefy Academy webinar, I always like to share a little bit more, because a lot of times you might be familiar with Travefy as the software tool. But during Academy webinars, we don't focus on, training you on Travefy software. We talk about how you can build your business. So it's really an educational, free content to help power travel advisors. So it's really cool. And you'll see, if you go to academy.travefy.com, you can see other podcasts, like one that just got released with Sandra here today, which I'll talk about at the end, because you should really listen to it. It's cool. And then we have other webinars. We have free things on there, resource. I mean, there's so much stuff. So check that out. And then also we will be recording this. So this is recording now, and you'll be able to find it on academy.travefy.com, and also our YouTube channel. So you'll find all of that there. And then finally, the other thing I want to mention is we will have time for questions at the end, but if you can hold on to those until the very end, that would be great. It'll make it a little easier for us to give those to Sandra, but I'm sure there'll be a lot stirred up today. So it'll be cool. But without further ado, because I want to give you like so much time here, is Sandra McLemore, who is founder and CEO of Travel Marketing and Media. And I'll let you take it away and share more about yourself and all the fun stuff.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Big shout out to Travefy for making sure that they take care of you with all of your educational needs. So before we get started today, I would like to know in the chat, so you won't be able to do anything else for the next however long, because we'll be together and you'll need both hands to type. So in the chat, if this is your first time ever doing a training with me, go ahead and type #first-time. And if you've trained with me before, do #HeySandra so that I know. Okay, we have tons of first timers.
Look at all those.
Okay, so this usually determines if I introduce myself or not, but it looks like I do have to introduce myself today, which is no problem at all. I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to, bear with me. Okay, there we go. And I think this will do it. Do you have my slides, Stephanie?
I see currently us. So I think you'll just have to go to the another window. There's more of us.
Yes. Okay. Let's do that one. Can you share? Can you see now?
Oh, that's same one. So same window as before.
All right. So let's try again.
Sorry,
that we practiced
this. Yeah.
Yeah, we did practice this. It wouldn't look like we practiced this, but we did practice it. Okay, so let's try now. Bear with me. See, this is what happens when you do live things.
Right.
Okay.
I know. And I feel bad because I made her change and take it off, but now we're back. There we go.
Okay. Can you see that?
Yes. You are good to go. There we go.
Okay, so because we have so many first timers, I'm going to very quickly introduce myself. You can just call me my new travel business coach or my new travel mentor because I'm here for you. I have over 25 years of experience inside the travel industry. So that's working in the industry, not for the industry. And a lot of you will be surprised, so happy to know that I actually started my career as a travel advisor back in 1998. And I talk about that journey on the podcast episode. It's episode 55, which Stephanie will talk about later. But I basically started as a travel advisor in a branch. But y'all, I'm going to age myself because think about this. This used to be when we would get a poster from marketing. We would hang it in the window on Monday morning and it would have all the flight prices and all the specials for the week. We had no email to check. We would come in and we would check our Sabre queues. So that's how long ago I was a travel advisor. However, I stayed in the industry over the next 25 years. So some of you will recognize me because I do a ton of TV these days, mostly news and morning shows and talk shows, and it's always about all things travel. Of course, as often as I can, I will say, book with a travel advisor, even if the anchor doesn't ask me, and just hope the producer doesn't cut it. I spent all of my career after I was a travel advisor working for the biggest travel brands in the world. So I spent 12 years working for Royal Caribbean. I was their senior fleet revenue manager. So basically it was my job to make sure that Royal Caribbean made money, which puts me in a really good spot now because now I run travel marketing and media and I help over 42,000 travel advisors in North America, which is pretty awesome. I get to help travel advisors to get a consistent stream of new clients. And the reason that I chose to do this was because I feel like most travel advisors kind of fell into the role. And let me know if this is you in the chat. You can say that's me if this is you, that you planned a vacation and one or a ton of people told you, you're so good at this, you should do this for a living. And then you thought to yourself, yes, I should do this for a living. So if that's you, right, that's me in the chat. Now, chances are, though, that you probably didn't go to business school, you probably didn't go to marketing school, you probably never had to do marketing for a company, and you probably have never been responsible for getting a consistent stream of new clients. So that's where I come in, and I help travel advisors to do that. And today we were looking at, when we were trying to come up with the topic for today's webinar, I sat down with the team at Travefy and we said, what can we really do that can help them right now? And there are two kinds of travel advisors when it comes to revenue. There are the profitable and the not currently profitable, or I like to say not yet profitable. So regardless of which camp you're sitting in today, you are exactly, my friend, where you need to be. And today I'm going to share with you 5 tactics that currently profitable travel advisors are using in their business. They're either doing one of them, 2, 3, 4, or all 5 of them. The goal, though, I want to tell you is not to jump in and start doing all of them. You might just hear one today that super resonates with you and you think to yourself, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on that. So these are just some of the brands that we have worked with and some of the networks and stations that we work with. And inside of the travel industry, we do a lot of work with ASTA as well. So we're their chosen marketing experts. So like I said, we're going to share 5 tactics, but who actually even said that these 5 tactics work? Well, we surveyed just under 10,000 of our travel advisors, and we got over 1,000 responses from people who said, right now, I am super profitable, not just profitable, but super profitable. And so we asked them, what are you doing? What do you think that your secret sauce is? And we noted all of these 5 things, and we saw a pattern in them. So there was probably about 15 things that came through the survey, but these were the top 5 that most of them are doing. So do you need to write these down? You do not. I'm going to make these slides available for you just to go ahead and download. Would that be helpful for you? Let me know in the chat. Say yes, 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 if you want to be able to download these. And that means you don't have to take any screenshots. You don't have to write crazy notes. But you might be like me, where you always have a pen and a notepad, and you might like to write down things that come to you. And I think that that's a great idea. So number 1, and these are not in any particular order. Travel advisors who are super profitable right now, lots of them, a huge number of them, are escorting trips. So they have at least one escorted trip on the calendar for 2022 and 2023, for 2023 or 2024. And it's out a little bit further in the calendar. It's not something that they said, okay, we're going to do this in 2 months' time. They know that they have to leave around 8 months in terms of organizing and marketing. But the majority of our highly profitable travel advisors in our community are doing these escorted trips. So instead of just telling you, hey, they're doing escorted trips, I made some notes here of some of the free text that they gave us, the extra bits and pieces, so that if this is something that you want to look into, there's kind of like a point of getting started. So the first thing that I saw a lot of them doing was partnering with 3 to 5 connectors. So a connector to me is, I don't know, I just kind of made it up, but it's a person who can connect you to the type of people that want to go on those trips, or a person of influence. I don't use the word influencer on purpose because I think a lot of us misunderstand or have kind of like an icky feeling when it comes to influencer, but think a connector. There's always someone in your life that you know that like just knows a lot of people, right? And so those are the people that travel advisors are using to help them to fill these escorted groups. So your group doesn't have to be a big group to be profitable. That's the other thing that we saw come back in the results, that smaller groups, if your mathematics is done well, can be highly profitable. You want to make sure that you do your math, like I said, and make sure that you have really strong service agreements in place and expectations. I think it was Shakespeare that said the greatest cause of heartbreak is expectations. So you really want to make sure that if you're going to do an escorted group, that the people that you're marketing to know if there's a minimum number of people that are required to participate, what exactly is included, what exactly is not included. My favorite thing to see in marketing is who is this for? And who is this not for? So that you get people who are like-minded travelers on these trips. Curate special moments. This was something that came up that was super important. The travel advisors who are doing these groups said you can't just simply take a river cruise or an ocean cruise or an all-day or like an all-inclusive for 3 or 4 or 5 days, because that's something travelers can do for themselves. So what kind of moments can you curate? Someone in our community this week right now is in Tulum with a yoga instructor and a group of the yoga instructor's students from their studio. And so they've incorporated daily yoga into their group. There's other moments, so maybe it might be having a photographer take some pictures, it could be a meditation session, it could be a food tasting, any kind of special moment that wouldn't happen if that traveler organized that kind of a trip on their own. The travel advisors who are doing escorted groups also told us that creating a website page full of those features and benefits, showing the itinerary, showing a map, especially if it's a cruise, showing the route that it's going to take, making sure that they list out, like we said before, who it's good for, who it's not good for, what's included, what's not included. Flights are definitely something that they all said are not included in the price. And I think that those of you who are seasoned travel advisors know not to quote flights in a package, to sort of flights not included or travel insurance, and then to set targets and make a plan to hit them. And that means developing a marketing plan where you can say, well, you know what, I'm going to use these 3 connectors or these 3 people of influence in my community, my friend circle. And then I'm going to create social media posts for them to give them. I'm going to create emails so that they've got all of the copy that they can copy, as in like the words, so that they can copy and paste it and send it out to their community. So I think that that was a really solid point that came from those who are doing escorted groups right now, is that they prepare all of the marketing themselves and then give it to the connectors so that the connectors can just copy and paste and send it out. So if this is something that resonates with you, go ahead and write yourself a note. Let me know in the chat, is escorting trips something that you have thought about? Is it something that you're curious about? Maybe it's something you want to try down the road. So let's have a look at the next thing that profitable travel advisors are doing right now. And I love this one. And by the way, if you have questions, hold on to them and just make yourself a note, and we'll ask for all the questions at the end, because I really want to make sure that we answer as many as we can, if not all of them. So number 2, I'm super passionate about this. I have literally a free course on how to implement this and how to say it and what to do and all the things, because I'm so passionate about it. If I had my way, every travel advisor on the planet who is certified reliable travel advisor would charge planning fees, because I've never had a free haircut. I've never been to see a free attorney. I've never used a free medical specialist in my life. I have to pay fees in order to do that. So the types of fees that they're charging are planning fees, rebooking fees, and this is a new one that most people have never heard of, and it's called an itinerary design only fee. I interviewed a travel advisor called Libby on my podcast the other day, and I saw this on her website, and it made me ask her about it right away. And then when the survey results came through, I was like, oh, more people are doing this than I realized. So basically what an itinerary only design fee is, if you know a destination really well, so it could be Paris, it could be Chiang Mai in Thailand, it doesn't matter. You could put together for a client a personalized, customized itinerary where there's no pressure for the client to book. So you might list through days 1 through 7. On day 1, so it might be day 0 as arrival. And then day 1, here's a full itinerary based on their travel style and on the things that they're interested in, people who are traveling, their budget, all of the above. Here's an itinerary of things that you can do that day. And the reason that this is so clever is because you'll list out all 7 days, including an option for accommodation, and then the client pays you for the itinerary. You do a consult, but at the end, they can either go and book it themselves, or you can say, hey, listen, for no extra fee or for an extra fee, I'm happy to book that for you. And it kind of takes the pressure off. What I found really interesting was that the travel advisors who are offering this almost always get the booking anyway, because the itinerary design fee is the same as their planning fee. So say, for example, they charge a $250 planning fee. The itinerary on its own is $250. Why has this become popular? I'm glad you asked, my friends. So over the last, I want to say like 7 to 12 months, whenever I do news segments, so I go on to like CNN, ABC, CBS, they always ask me why are flight prices so high? You know this as well as I do, I'm sure, but just for those who are kind of new to industry, one is because the routes just haven't recovered since before COVID. So there might have been like between LA and Charlotte, there might have been 10 flights operating by Delta, and maybe during the pandemic, they stripped it back to 4 flights and they didn't put the rest of the 6 flights back on again. And it's because of staffing issues or because revenue's not where it is. And the ticket prices are also much higher as well. So what we're seeing a lot of is, because ticket prices are so high for flights, we're seeing travelers, when they see a flight, jump in and book it immediately or use points. And now we're seeing travelers saying, hey, well, I've got a flight already, but I don't have the rest of it. So that's where this kind of itinerary only concept has come up, because a lot of people already have flights. In fact, it happened to me just the other day with my travel advisor. I asked her to book my flights. I wanted 2 business class flights from Los Angeles to Budapest on 2 different dates, one person traveling one day, the other day. And I jumped onto the Delta website, and like, y'all, this never happens on Delta. I think you know this. Like, it's almost unbelievable. But the Delta flight was cheaper than any other airline by about $600 flying on Delta One. So I said to my travel advisor, Melissa, can you just book it for me? She said, no way, book it now, book it yourself. She said, grab your credit card. Who am I kidding? Delta has my credit card. So I quickly jumped on and I booked that flight. And she said, okay, now I can do the rest for you. So she can do my transfers, my travel insurance, my hotel, any day tours that I want to have. I want to get a photographer for one day for a branding shoot. So she's going to go ahead and book everything else. And it really made me realize that she's essentially just doing an itinerary only, but then she's going to go ahead and book it all for me because I want it. So when it comes to getting started with planning fees, I do have some tips for you. Number 1 is to decide on the fee structure that you're going to charge. So you might charge, and there's no right or wrong here as a business owner. You do your research, you make your decision, and just see how it goes. And then if you got to tweak it, you got to tweak it. There are a few rules for planning fees, but how you charge your planning fees is not one of them. So you can either charge by a number of days that the traveler is gone. So I have clients and travel advisors in our community that charge for the short getaway, which is like 4 days or less. Then they charge 4 to 8 days, and then 9 days plus. And then anything that's 15 days plus is on request. So they have a set price for those. I have other travel advisors in my community, get this, they charge per hour of planning, and they've been doing that successfully for so many years. I know other travel advisors that charge per itinerary, and it might be per household. So if we're traveling with my husband's cousin who lives in Dallas, we like to travel with them, we would pay for our household, they would pay for their household. even though we're going to do the same trip because we're flying from different places. So it's 2 separate sets of flights. So you can also decide to charge just for changes. This is something that I've talked to my travel advisor about. And I've said to her, I love that you charge $247, but if you have to rebook my entire itinerary, there should be another charge there to rebook the itinerary. So whether or not that's because I'm in destination and have an issue and need everything rebooked, or because I changed my mind and I want to go on a different date and you have to rebook everything there. Set a date to make the change for 100% of your clients. So there are no exceptions. There are no people that get it for free. There are no discounts at all. And so it's new clients and existing clients, and you just set a date. And then you want to update your onboarding process, because now onboarding of a new client includes taking in that planning fee. And of course, you want to update all of your marketing. So your website, you might want to update, you might want to create some social media posts that show the benefits of paying a planning fee. My parents just came to stay for 3 months, y'all. It was 3 long months. That's 90 days. That's 90 nights. That's 90 mornings that I woke up to my parents. Haven't lived with my parents for a very long time because I'm like mid-40s and that's just not a thing. And yes, they came and it was amazing. But while they were here, my dad heard me talking to our travel advisor about that trip to Budapest. And he said, why is that girl doing all that work for you? And I said, Dad, she's a professional travel advisor. She's an expert. That's what she does for a living. And he said, how much do you pay her? And I said, $250 every trip. You think I could use her? Yeah, sure. So now my dad is working with the travel advisor because he's always done that himself. Now my dad is like 70 and he has no patience. My parents fight about the stupidest of things now that they're getting older. And so they're like an example of a retired affluent couple who travel all the time, 3 or 4 international trips per year, that had never heard of a travel advisor. He said, $250, that's it? Or is it each? And I said, well, even if it was each, it'd be worth it. And he said, absolutely. So he's totally happy to pay for those fees. And I think that if you're sitting here right now thinking my clients would never, let me leave you with this. I've never, ever heard of a travel advisor implementing planning fees and their existing clients saying, sorry, it was worth it when it was free, but it's not worth it anymore. I've never heard of that happening. Just real quick in the chat, do you want to let me know either type I charge fees or not yet in the chat? And if you have, if you want to share in the chat as well, were your existing clients okay when you switched to fees? So you could say most of them were okay, all of them were okay. They couldn't believe that I hadn't started earlier. So let us know in the chat, and then people are going to see in there that they're not the only one, no matter where they stand. Okay, the third thing that profitable travel advisors are doing right now is they are email list obsessed. Okay, they're focused on growing an email list as opposed to growing followers. We have a saying in our community where we say, don't collect followers, convert them. I remember when Instagram first came out and I would make a post and then I would very quickly and frequently go into Instagram to check how many likes I had or if I had any comments. So I'm going to put y'all on the spot right now. Who posts something and then more than one time goes in to see how many likes it got or if it got any comments and feels kind of like sad if they got nothing and really excited if they got something? We have an obsession, and I think it's an unhealthy obsession, with collecting followers and finding validation in whether or not people like a post or comment a post. And here's why. I sit on my phone in the evening after I put my teenager to bed, and I mindlessly scroll in Pinterest, in Instagram, not so much in Facebook, and I like a lot of stuff, right? Especially on the Discover page, which is not the people I follow, but just random content. I don't engage in the majority of posts. I just enjoy looking at them, enjoy reading them, and I keep scrolling. So if the person who created that post was looking for my validation to tell them that they did something that was great or something that was engaging, they're not getting it from me. And they're probably not getting it from a lot of people. So that person might decide, well, this piece of content's not really resonating well. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to switch to something else. And as travel advisors and business owners, we cannot afford to do that. We don't own we do not own our social media following. We do own our email list. And here's why. If you decided today that you had the most phenomenal offer from your favorite supplier. So tell me in the chat, who's your favorite supplier? Who's your favorite supplier to sell? Or who would you like to have as like your favorite supplier that you sold all the time? So it could be a river cruise line, a cruise line, it could be a tour operator, whoever. Okay, I see them all coming through right now. Charisma, Waterways, Sandals, Avalon, so many in there. So imagine if that supplier, your favorite supplier on the planet, emails you and says, hey, Scott, we've got this amazing BOGO deal, Waterways, for example, and they say, we're doing a buy one, get one 50% off for Egypt. You can cruise the Nile, plus we're doing free upgrades on air. So if you went ahead and posted that so that all your followers could see it, and you might want to write this down if you're a numbers person, between 4 and 10% of your audience might see that post. That's the maximum number, up to 10%. So say, for example, we have 1,000 followers. You've been lucky enough to get to 1,000 followers from zero. Well, only between 40 and 100 people that actually follow you will see it. Because not everybody is on their phone. Not everybody is on Facebook at that given time. They could be like me. They could be wrangling like school drop off in the morning. P.S. This morning, school drop off, absolute nonsense on this end. And in that case, this morning, I haven't even looked on Facebook today. So I would not see that post, and it would go up in my feed and it would disappear buried amongst other posts. But if you had my email address and you emailed me and you said, hey, Sandra, I'm a Waterway, well, you wouldn't say I'm a Waterway, you say, hey, Sandra, one of my favorite travel suppliers on the planet is offering an amazing travel opportunity. If you are looking for somewhere amazing to go, if you can travel between this date and this date, if Egypt or the Nile, seeing the pyramids, cruising the Nile, visiting the Cairo Museum, if any of these things are on your bucket list, then this is absolutely for you. This is the itinerary. You would show a map with the itinerary. Here's some of the destinations you'll visit. You could do an add-on, like an overland add-on to Jordan. You can go out to Wadi Rum. Oh my gosh, on my bucket list. You can stop in Dubai on the way back. It would have to be booked by this date. The deposit is $200, paid off in full 60 days before you have to leave. If you're interested in this travel opportunity, I would love to answer any questions or share more information. Click here to book a quick 15-minute chat at a time that's convenient to you. Now, here's the thing. 97 to 99% of the people you email will receive that email. It'll go straight into their inbox. So like this morning's nonsense school drop-off, it was ridiculous by far. My teenager did not want to go to school this morning because he wanted to take a penguin into his class. I didn't see the emails that came through then. In fact, I haven't checked my emails then, but I will check them when we get off the webinar today. And if you'd have sent me that email, it would be there. So profitable travel advisors right now have realized, okay, there's a place for social media. Social media is important. It inspires my audience. It keeps me top of mind and top of speed dial for the people who follow me. It can help drive traffic to my website where I can convert them into email subscribers. But they truly realize that email subscribers are more powerful than social media followings, okay? So if you want to get started on becoming obsessed with email subscribers like I am and like profitable travel advisors are right now, you want to make growing an email list more important than collecting social media followers. You want to understand the actual benefits of having an engaged email list and how to nurture them, how to build a real relationship with them so that when you send out that email from Charisma or from Classic Vacations or whoever it is, that you know that they're excited to get it and that they trust you enough to book that quick appointment to touch base with you. And you want to learn the secrets to turning those email subscribers into paying clients. It's way easier than you think, okay? Number 4, really successful travel advisors right now who are highly profitable, they are the company they keep, and they switched gears to go from what they were doing before to who they are now. So let me clarify a little bit. They see themselves as entrepreneurs first, travel advisors second. That's a lot. That's actually a big deal. They see themselves as entrepreneurs and business owners and CEOs first, and as an actual planner of travel second, okay? They run a business, not a hobby. They've decided that this is a real business, even if they start part-time and then go to full-time. They surround themselves with people who are doing better than they are. This for me was really, really powerful years ago when I decided to really dive even deeper into being a business owner. I found myself a community of people who were stronger business owners and stronger entrepreneurs than I am. And honestly, the benefits were insane. And let me give you a different example. So I mentioned that I have a three-nager, right? He goes to a Guidepost Montessori, which is like a European kind of like a pre-K situation. He's in a classroom where all of the kids are aged between 3 and 6 years old, but he's 3. So right now he's being motivated and inspired by 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, and 6-year-olds. And so recently I said to him, "Oh, what are you watching?" And he said, "I'm watching penguins, the obsession right now." And I said, "Great." I said, "What are the penguins doing?" And I expected him to say they're swimming. And he said, "Well, Mama, they're looking for food in the ocean." And I said, "Oh, what do they eat? Do they like apples?" Such an idiot. And he goes, "No, Mama, penguins don't eat apples. They eat fish. He's looking for fish." And he gave me that really judgy toddler look. And I thought, oh, wow, okay. And I've noticed this huge change in him. If you've got kids, you might have seen this if your kids play with older siblings or maybe even cousins. But I really recognize in that moment, he is becoming the company that he keeps. He has no understanding that these kids are 4, 5, and 6 and that he's 3. He's just super motivated to be able to do what they're doing. So these travel advisors surround themselves with people who are better than they are or further ahead, if that's easier for you to kind of grasp. And these travel advisors are laser focused. Hyper-focused, laser-focused. So if you know that this is an area where that kind of resonates with you, let me know in the chat. Say, I need to focus on number 4 if this is an area that you feel like you can up your game in. I will say straight away, it's time for me to up my game in this a little bit. I need to find another group of entrepreneurs that are better than me. They're better at list building. They're better at marketing. They're better at self-motivating. They're better at creating content. So here's some tips to get started. Number 1, join a community of entrepreneurs outside of the travel industry. Can you let me know in the chat? Are you part of a community or a Facebook group or something that is not travel advisor related, but that it's business related? So let me know about that. Attend events that will actually grow both you as a person and your travel business. Set goals and document your way that you're going to get there. Seek out coaching, community, and content that aligns to your business, and unsubscribe from everything else. So I don't know about you, but at the beginning of the year, I went through and unsubscribed from a ton of emails in my inbox, but you also may need to unsubscribe from some people. Perhaps they're people that are always chit-chatty and tons of fun, but not super productive. Maybe you find yourself getting caught up in online chats and Facebook groups or, meetup groups where it's just not really productive. They're nice people, but it's not productive. So ask yourself, am I hanging out with the right people? Am I becoming inspired and motivated by the right people? And trust me, you'll find a way to give back in those communities for sure. So don't worry that you're just kind of taking there. And then number 5 is that they do not run on empty. Successful entrepreneurs do not run on empty. They are intentional with their time and energy, and they run their days. Their days don't run them. So let me give you a bit of an example, or maybe a metaphor, I guess, that there is no way that we would drive around with only a small amount of gas and just be comfortable roaming the streets. We don't. We're acutely aware when we get in our car of how much gas we have, because I guess it's easy to measure. It's got a gauge in our car that tells us how much gas we have. Maybe we know the consequences of what happens when we run out of gas. We can visualize ourselves on the freeway. And here in California, we call freeways like the something. So the 5, the 405, the 10, and they scare the life out of you here because they're just gridlock most of the time. So I know that running out of gas on the 405 or the 10 or the 5, the 14, It would be a disaster. So maybe that's why it's so easy for us to quantify, like, I can't drive my car with no gas. Maybe in your younger, less responsible days, you ran out of gas. Has anyone ever run out of gas on the side of the road because they just thought they could do it? They were like the little engine that thought they could. I did that when I was younger, and it was like so frustrating. And so now I'm really, really careful that I don't run out of gas, because it's embarrassing, right? So for some reason, we have a really easy time knowing not to drive around with low gas, because we know the consequences, we know what will happen. But we're happy to use our energy like it's unlimited. We don't set out for the day and say, okay, well, I've only got a certain amount of energy for today. I've only got a certain amount that I can give into today. So I'm going to very quickly get all my most important things done. I'm going to get my work done. I'm going to look after myself. I'm going to put some family time, some kids time, some parent time, some friend time, some fur baby time. I'm going to divide up all the things I have to do. I'm going to prioritize them. Like if you were in the car, you would prioritize running your errands before going on a leisurely drive. So if you know that you sometimes drive yourself to the point that you run on empty, here are some tips for you to get started. The first thing would be to make a decision to respect your time. I don't know why as humans we find this so hard. And you know the people who find this the hardest? Givers. If you're someone that's always very generous with your time, like you'll drop everything you're doing and do something for other people. Is there anyone out there who's like that you will literally at your own detriment stop what you were doing to help somebody else? You know that it's going to have a negative impact. You know it's going to cause you grief. You know it's going to come back to bite you in the booty, but you will still drop everything to help somebody else. And that other thing that person needs help with, they a lot of the time could actually be okay with you saying, you know what, I can help you with that. Why don't I give you a call on Tuesday? Or why don't I call you after I finish work today? I learned maybe only, I want to say like a year ago, to start talking about my work time to my friends and family as I'm at work right now. Because I own my own business like you, I don't know what the rest of the world think that I'm doing, but I think they think that I just lie on the couch, pick up my laptop, and just like, I'm not always busy. And then when I choose to be busy, I am. And when I don't want to be busy, I'm not. Like, I don't know what my family think. Like, I don't really even think my parents think I have a real job, despite the fact that they've just spent 90 days here. But when I started saying, hey, actually, I'm at work right now. Can I give you a call when I'm done? They were like, oh, yeah. Thanks for that. No problem. Okay. Or they'd say, hey, one of my friends, she would call and say, hey, do you want to go to brunch on Thursday? And I used to say, oh, let me check and see if I can, because I felt like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. I got the freedom to go to brunch on Thursday. Now I literally say, let me check and see if I'm working on Thursday. Actually, you know what? I'm working on Thursday. I could go on Sunday morning. How's that? So it's really about making the decision to respect your time, scheduling your time, and then sticking to it. That's a really hard thing a lot of us struggle with, because nobody's going to hold us accountable if we don't show up for that 1 hour work block where we said we were going to. Making sure that you have a balance of work, clients, you, and others. I'm looking at my Echo 15 in the background there. It's like a 15-inch screen, and it's got all of our appointments for the day. It's got a to-do list. It's got a bunch of things. But you know what I really like that I can see right now? It's got an appointment for me to go and get my nails done. It's got an appointment for me to go to Stretch Lab and to get stretched out. It's got Houston. It's got a time to go do something. That's our kid. Time to go do something with him on Saturday. And on Friday night, our babysitter's coming. So I can see on their work things, and I can see the Travefy webinar. So I can see work things, I can see me time, and I can see family time, and I can see married folk time. And that never used to be the case in our family. Make sure that you pay attention to what makes you feel good and where you're productive. Yesterday, for the first time, this is like celebration moment, for the first time in my life yesterday, I finished my to-do list that I set up for the day. Can you believe that? I run like a 7-figure business. I have like a crazy busy TV career. We have 42,000 travel advisors in our community. There's always a lot going on. And like I said, got a kid, married, all the things. And I never used to get my to-do list done. Ever. I would either set too many things, or I wouldn't respect my time during the day, or I get distracted. I also suffer from shiny object syndrome. So very easily I'm distracted. Like I'll pick up a pen and be like, ooh, noted. I wonder what else they sell. I like this pen. Maybe they have other things. And then for like a minute, then I find myself a minute later on their website buying notepads that I don't need. So yesterday I finished my to-do list for the first time, and I made sure that I did this last tip for you. I asked myself, what was it about today that made today such a productive work day? And there were a few things that I did differently yesterday. There was the setup in the house. Firstly, everybody was away from me. My husband has a cold right now and he's upstairs. He has like a cold. So the fact that he wasn't walking around looking for snacks or like in the house, because we both work from home, that helped. Houston was at school. That helped. My parents are gone. That super helped. But also, I got up a little earlier. I showered, which usually I shower at the end of the day. I had a shower in the morning. I ate breakfast. The house is super tidy right now. I don't know, all those things I think contributed to me having a very productive day. Oh, most importantly, I did a to-do list the night before and I knew exactly what I wanted to get done. And then I left my phone on the kitchen counter and went and worked in another spot because I thought, well, I can go back and check my phone later. So I had no distractions there. So whatever it is, whenever you have your next super productive day or half day, ask yourself, what's different about now and how can I replicate it? So those are the 5 things that travel advisors who are super successful, super profitable right now, even during wave season, not wave season, because not every travel advisor has wave season if they don't sell cruises. They are feeling that these are the things that they're doing. So what I want to do right now is to have you in the chat. Let me know, and I'll go back through them real quick. Which one of these do you think that you need to pour the most amount of time in because it resonates with you the most? Which one of these is like, we call it low hanging fruit? So I'm looking at my screen when I look down, by the way. The first one is escorted trips. The second one is charging planning fees or fixing up your planning fees situation. Becoming obsessed with email lists instead of social media followers. The company you keep, it might be just sort of stepping up and saying, you know what? I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. I'm a big deal. And then surrounding yourself with people like that outside of the travel industry. Maybe it's not running on empty anymore. Maybe it's being a little more intentional with your time. So let me know in the chat which of those 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and it could be more than one in there, would you like to focus on? So while you're doing that, writing out which one resonates the most with you, notice that none of these cost money. These are all free things that you can say, you know what, I'm going to implement this into my business. Here's the thing. I don't want you to walk away from today's webinar thinking, Travefy, thank you. Thank you for organizing that. That was so good. It made me feel fired up, ready to go, fire it up. I don't want that to happen. And then you just go and do whatever you were doing, like you go and watch The View or eat your lunch or whatever you're doing. I want you to actually decide what you can do to make a difference. So have a look at the ones that resonated with you. And I want to ask you, just pick one of them. What single small thing can you do today before you close your computer to get moving? So say, for example, you decided that you want to surround yourself by a different kind of people because you want to level up as a business owner and an entrepreneur. Your thing that you do today might be to go to Facebook and to find some Facebook groups. It might be to go and have a look at your local Chamber of Commerce and see if you can join that. Maybe your thing was to not run on empty anymore. And maybe you're going to document on paper this afternoon or in your notepad when you have your most productive times, what the pattern is there. So just make one tiny thing, one tiny action and pop it in the chat for me of something you can do today to move the needle forward, because it's great to attend trainings like this. It's great to show up and like feel really amazing. But if you're not going to do anything, you would have been better off just like helping clients or doing marketing this morning. So something in there that you can, it might be that you want to do escorted travel, and you might today start thinking about where you would go and list out maybe 5 destinations, and then think about who could be a good connector or a person of influence. It might be someone in your church that knows everybody. It could be someone at the school gates that knows everyone. It could be your kid's baseball team. So let me know in there. Okay, so while you're doing that, I can't wait to read all of these, by the way. I'm going to go through and read all the comments. So one thing in there, and if you've got a couple of things, you can list up to 3 things there. But I want to remind you that for any of these 5 things, you will never feel 100% ready to start. The most important thing is that you just start. Okay, don't wait until you feel like, okay, I can't introduce planning fees right now because I'm still new or because I'm still finding my feet. Just start. You'll never actually feel 100% ready. Okay, so if you would like to learn more about how we can work together, you can join our, we've got a couple of tools that might help you. You can join our Facebook group. We have an app you can download. We have some free training sessions you can attend. We have an event that I'm really excited to talk about that we've partnered with Travefy on. It's an in-person event, so we can come together. And then we have a shop as well. So let me show you, you can find everything on our website, but let me talk to you about this event really quickly. This event is the traffic and conversion experience. It is focused on literally one thing only: getting more leads for your business and closing more sales. And I'm really excited about this because we are at Travel Marketing and Media co-hosting this event with our friends at Travefy. It's going to be so amazing. It's in Puerto Rico, April 29th and 30th. I guarantee you that you have never, ever been to a conference or workshop or in-person event for your business that focuses 100% of the time on you and your business. So you'll actually turn up. We did a test run of this event in San Francisco. It booked out. It's amazing. We have pictures of it. We can show you at a different time. And it was just really powerful because everybody in the room sat and worked on their business. And can you imagine doing that for 2 days? All we're going to focus on, Travefy and TMM, all we're going to focus on is how to get you more leads and how to convert those leads to sales. You're not going to hear from sponsors. You're not going to hear from suppliers. You're not going to have awkward networking activities. Like, it's just not going to happen. It's just going to be you working on your business. So Travefy will send you some more information about that later. We're talking a lot about it on our social media and on our website right now. But I think we want to go to questions. So now is a really good time, but I'll ask you to do this for me. If you have a question about anything, can you type can you either, Stephanie, do you want them to submit it in the questions bit or type hashtag question?
Maybe in the questions area might be easier.
Perfect. Let's do that.
Yeah, in the question box, I'll pay attention to the chat just in case too.
Okay.
But yeah, there's already some, so we can jump into those. But so glad also that many also suffer from the gold or the shiny object syndrome. It gets you every time. Every time.
Like, I really actually want to know now, because this pen is so good. It's by a company called Noted. I really want to know, do they have other stuff? I don't need other stuff.
I know. No, I do the same thing. I'll get on Google and then I'm so glad we're not alone in this all the time.
Let me answer questions. Is that okay?
Yep, go for it.
Great. So first question is from Sarah McGovern, and she says, do travel agents typically go on escorted group trips? Yes, ma'am. That's the escorted bit of it. So you can book groups that are not escorted, and then you have groups that are escorted. Just make sure when you do your mathematics for the escorted group trip that you're building in not just your profit line, but also your costs. So it's your cost of your airfare, your cost of your accommodation, your airport transfers, your travel insurance, business insurance, all the things to make sure you're covered. And in addition to that, your profit line as well. You don't want to be forever on escorted trips, and you also don't want to be advertising multiple ones at once, because there is a responsibility to fill it. But if you're connecting with the right people, it will make it a lot easier. Okay, next question. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I have one. This one was kind of coming in earlier when you were talking about email. A lot of people are asking this question, but what are like some of your favorite ways to grow an email marketing list?
That's a super loaded baked potato.
It is. Yeah.
So I'm going to give you an answer that you're not going to love, and I'm going to tell you that we need to do a whole nother training for that, because it's a whole nother thing. I have amazing ways to build email lists. I built my email list, and guess how many subscribers I had when I started? None. I didn't even have one. And then the first person who signed up for my email list was my auntie. I was so annoyed. She's not a travel advisor. She had no business being on my email list. We need to do another training for that, because it's a whole thing. Okay.
There's so many. Yeah. And yeah.
I have one coming up soon in our community, but if Travefy want to do one, we can do one with them as well. Okay, next one is from Jennifer Walker, and she says, do you have suggestions for instituting planning fees with long-term existing clients who were never charged a fee in the past? Yes, and the first step is deciding that you're going to do it, committing that it's going to be 100% of the people, and being okay with the consequences. Once you have overcome those, or you've sort of checked those off, It really is an extremely simple process. And what I find is that the fear comes from not being able to articulate why you're doing it. And you always know, like when somebody gives you an answer that's half-baked and you're like, you don't sound really confident in that. It's like when you order like a very specific sandwich and the person goes, yep, I got that. And then you're like, but did you? And then the sandwich comes back and you wasn't a sandwich, you got a soup. It's the same kind of thing when you implement planning fees for the very first time. You have to be so confident in why you're doing it, how to explain it. You have to be not just confident, it's the next step after confident is proud and excited. And then you've got to be able to infuse whoever you're talking to with that same level of excitement. We have a free planning course, how to implement planning fees on our app. Go in and do that. It's like a really quick, you can do it in one afternoon or one morning, and it literally talks about how to say it to people. But yeah, to answer the question directly, it's about being super confident and being able to explain it, and also be able to say, and these are the benefits for you. And you know, there's so many benefits for your clients that they weren't getting before, that you just need to get your head around and be like, okay, that's how I'm going to explain it. But it comes, the confidence comes from being confident in yourself that you're doing the right thing for your business. Okay, Layla Ray. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I just put in a thing because we actually did a fee webinar a couple months ago where we just talked with other agents, like how they're implementing fees. So that's really cool. Just, it gives you a good idea of like the different ways that you can implement them, but I just threw it in the chat. But okay, continue on. Just had to throw that in.
Planning course on our app for free, and go to the Travefy webinar in the portal and listen to what other travel advisors are doing. Okay, Layla says, I find it difficult even for my clients to read their emails. How will growing my email list help? When people don't read your emails, do you want to know why? It's because they're either not your ideal client and they just happen to be on your email list, or what you're saying isn't resonating with them. Because trust me, when we send emails, not only do we get a 60 or 70% open rate, but we get 20, 30, or 40% click rates, which means they click on something in the email to dig even deeper and learn more. And that's because we always make sure that our email list only has people on it who are the type of people that we want to work with, and that those people are interested in how they can work with us. So say, for example, you specialize in ocean cruising and you've got a bunch of people on your email list that are just not really that into ocean cruising. They're more like all-inclusive kind of people. There is nothing that you can do that will make them open your emails more. You have to ask yourself, am I sending the right content? So if you say to yourself, well, actually, maybe I should send more all-inclusive, only if you want to sell all-inclusive, or should that person not be on my email list? And here's the trick that we use. Every single month, we clean our email list. Think of like the nicest foam cleanser you have. And what we do is we remove people from our email list that have been subscribed for at least 90 days, but have not opened an email in 6 months. Do you know why? We send an email every single week to our email list, just one email a week. But if you've gone for 6 months and not opened an email, that means you have chosen 26 times that this content is not good for you. Good. Get off my email list. So we just removed it from our email list, because not only are they kind of messing up our analytics with our open rates and our click rates, and again, that's a whole nother, email marketing is a whole nother training, but it gives us a better idea of what the people on our email list are interested in. So it might be that you just need to clean your email list. It feels super counterintuitive because you work so hard to build your email list and then you get rid of people. But just think of it this way. There's no such thing as rejection. It really is just the other person recognizing before you that you're not the right fit. Okay, that's all it is. Okay, so next question is from Jenna Barnes, and she says, what is the best email subscriber, mass email sender website or tool to use? Hopefully Travefy can be an email sender too. So Stephanie, do you want to quickly address the Travefy version, and then I can Travefy answer there, and then I can give you some suggestions?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So right now, Travefy doesn't support like an actual email sending. People will use it because they'll use little elements of Travefy, like the landing page builder, or they'll create, just using different things in there. But we don't actually have like a built-in email sending platform. So Sandra, what are some of your favorite ones?
One of the things that I will say, and I would say it to their face if they were sitting in my kitchen, scared but confident, I would say, don't use my MailChimp. And the reason that I say don't use MailChimp have really loose rules around signing up for a new account and uploading subscribers. That means that all the shady people who are doing the wrong thing, trying to scam and have email lists that they bought, that they have no business emailing people, they choose MailChimp. Unfortunately, that results in the majority of emails from good people and shady people who use MailChimp ending up in either the junk folder or the promotions tab of Gmail. So many people on the planet have a Gmail now because of Apple and because of Google, that the last thing that you want is to have most of your emails ending up in the promotions tab, because there's a whole bunch of people doing shady things, and the Gmails and the Outlooks and the Hotmails and the AOLs, if they even exist still, they all just decided, hey, anything that comes from MailChimp, we're just going to put it in the spam folder. So MailChimp is not a bad company. It's just that they're very loose on their sign-up rules. So you want to look for, we have a list of them on our website. If you go to travelmarketingandmedia.com, scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see something called Smart Tools. This is all the tools that we use in our business right now or have used in the past. Things like ConvertKit. I really like Flowdesk. Flowdesk is so easy and it's super affordable. I like that they have a fixed price, and no matter how many email subscribers you get, you could end up with 50,000 email subscribers. They'll never raise the price because it's fixed for life, or MailerLite. So those are the three that we recommend. Okay, next is Cynthia Nordyke, and she says, what is the YouTube channel? What YouTube channel?
Well, it could be Travefy's. And I'll have you share yours too, just so we can cross all of them.
We don't public YouTube channel, so maybe she's talking about yours.
Oh yeah, so it could be Travefy. So Travefy's, let me
chat.
Put this in there. Yeah, let me put, there we go. So
Okay.
yeah, Travefy, just Travefy, easy one.
Okay. So what is the Facebook group name? It's called Travel Advisor Hub on Facebook, and I will see you and let you in. Okay, next one is, how about LinkedIn not so useful? So it's not that LinkedIn is not useful, it's that LinkedIn is a tool that serves a purpose. We have a toolkit downstairs. My husband does not know how to use most of the tools. I know how to use none of the tools except the hammer. So when you go to do a job in your house, you pick the right tool to match the job that you've got to do. LinkedIn is a tool that won't match everything you need to do. If you want to find people in companies and organizations, if you want to link up on a business to business kind of relationship, then LinkedIn is really great. But if you're looking for families to go on vacation, if you're looking for couples for romance travel, LinkedIn is not the right tool. It's like using a hammer to undo a faucet. Probably going to break your faucet. It's not going to be helpful. Okay. Is Brandy. Brandy Spears says, how would one go about hosted tours when you specialize in destination weddings or romance travel? That's a really great question. In fact, the travel advisor that I interviewed the other day for my podcast, the episode came out just last night, episode from Moonglade Travel. She has a really good example where she has a trip for lovers. It's called A Lover's Getaway to Los Cabos, and it's later this year. I low-key really want to go. We don't have time to go, but I'm trying to find ways to make time. And she's just inviting couples who want to meet other couples. For those of you who are in a relationship, I'm sure that you know that when you surround yourself with other couples that are just fun and uplifting, that it has such a positive impact on your own relationship. So she's running a trip for couples. And so that's how you could do it if you did romance travel.
How cool is that?
A special thing that you can implement, you know, we talked about implementing curated moments. You might have like a marriage therapist or a relationship therapist or somebody who can do some kind of activity with your group that would be helpful. Okay, that one we already answered. Alyssa Maisano says, do you think having a Google business page helps with leads? Absolutely. So having a Google My Business page is really cool. You can Google My Business. We definitely recommend it because it's free. It is a process to understand how it works and what to do, and you do have to post on it regularly as if it was social media. But one of the things that I like about it is that it allows people to find you in a very organic way. It's also a great place to put your reviews. So we have all 5-star rated or 5-star reviews on our Google page, and when people are looking for travel marketing or travel business coaching, we always pop up because we consistently putting posts and information into our Google My Business profile. So yes, absolutely. I think that that's a really good way to find new leads. Patrick McGill says, I need to build my email list. What tactics are there to build it? So we answered that one, that we're going to have to do a whole new training. Another person There's anonymous attendee. That's a nice first name, Anonymous. It says, replanning fees. You mentioned no discounts and fee waivers. I've offered a family friend's discount. How do I stop doing this? Just stop. Put the discount down and step back. Don't do it anymore. Number one, can I just remind you, friends and family end up being the worst ever. They're the worst behaved, the first ones to jump up and down. So they're the last ones you want to discount for, but just don't discount. Just say to them, don't offer it. And if they ask about it, say, oh, you know what? I'm not offering discounts anymore, but let me see what I can do for you in terms of some upgrades or some extra amenities through through Virtuoso or whoever your consortia is or your supplier. No more fee discounts. Don't discount your worth and discount your time. Okay, Julie Shellman asks, do you plan to do the event again later in the year? I can't do those dates. We don't. It's an annual event, the Traffic and Conversion Experience. So unfortunately not, but as soon as we have next year's date, we'll definitely put it on the calendar. Brandy asks, are hosted and escorted groups the same? Yes, exactly the same thing, just a different word. Monica Tavares asks, how to assess a good escort group? Not quite sure I understand what that means. How to assess a good escort group?
That could probably be its own training too.
Yeah, about building escort groups.
Yeah.
Monica, just if you want to in the Facebook group later on or on Travefy's group or our group, you might want to go ahead and expand that question out a little more and the rest of us can jump in and help you because I'm not too sure there. Okay, Tammy says, how much is the event? Everything is on our website. So if you go to travelmarketingandmedia.com, you'll find everything there, but Travefy will send out an email soon as well with all the
Yeah, and another thing too is because I know that we're we are on time, but still, if there's any other questions, but what I'll do though, because I see a lot of questions here about like your slides that you had, so I will put those in. They'll be at academy.travefy.com, and then I'll also link in like for the events and all of that stuff. So just FYI, everyone, I will get all that up as soon as I can. So it'll be there. So we got you.
Yes, just give me a few minutes to send that through to Stephanie before we get it up. And also for the event, we've got payment plans for that as well, if that's helpful. Monica says, how do I listen to your podcast? You can go to wherever you get your podcasts, so Apple Podcasts or Google or wherever, and just type in travel marketing and we will pop up there. Or you can go to travelmarketingandmedia.com/podcast. Okay. And we'll put all the links there. Okay. Martha says, can we get the email training class scheduled?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I will say we have some stuff on academy.travefy.com, but it's I mean it might not be exactly like what we were talking about, but it's still might want to check it out. But
yeah, and we have one coming up in February. It's a free one.
Perfect.
Yeah, we already have one scheduled, so if people want to come for that, but then I'm happy to do a Travefy one later down the track.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of email marketing questions. Love it.
Our app is Travel Advisor Hub, same as the Facebook group. So exactly the same, Travel Advisor Hub. Leandra Howell says, do you transfer those fees to the booking? No, never, ever, ever, ever. So let me be super clear on this. And in the planning fees workshop that we have, I talk about this in detail. When you book travel, the commission that you get paid is your business with the supplier. When I say business, I don't mean like mind your business. I mean, it's like your agreement with the supplier. It's your working agreement with the supplier. They're paying you commission for selling their trip. They're paying you commission for organizing the documents for those clients, for connecting them with those clients. It's basically you're acting like as a sales arm of their team. They pay you for that. Your planning fee is your working agreement with your client. So it's you being available to your client, you using your expertise, you spending your time for the client. So it's really good to have that clear in your head, because it helps when people say, well, don't you get commission? And say, well, yeah, obviously we make commission on some, not all, because listen, when I was a travel advisor, we made a ton of commission on flights. I believe that's not the case anymore. We made 40% on travel insurance. We made a ton of commission back then, and it's not the same anymore. So you can say, not all suppliers pay commission, and for some of them, it's quite a low amount of commission, but regardless, that is a contracted agreement between myself and the travel company that we're using. You and I'm acting as your concierge, as your personal, professional travel planning service. And so the planning fee pays for my time, my availability to you, me helping you out of a jam, me answering your questions, the same way that you would go and see an attorney and have billable hours, except mine, if it's not, is not billable. It's just a one flat fee. So you definitely never, ever, ever want to transfer it to their booking. And here's another quick reason why. If they cancel or something like COVID happens, you would lose 100% of your planning fees. So you want to keep those to the side. We have travel advisors in our community that make $60,000 to $100,000 in planning fees a year. When COVID happened, they were fine. They were fine. Yeah, they lost hundreds of thousands of dollars of travel, but they could pay their bills. So that's another reason why you never want to transfer it. Warren Porter says, what are your thoughts on email lists from Chamber of Commerce or similar organizations? You never, ever, ever want to buy or receive for free an email list. You always want people to sign up for your email list, because I guarantee you, if you have 10 people on your email list that love sandals, that love all-inclusive resorts, maybe they don't even know sandals, they just love the whole concept of all-inclusive vacations, they love you. If you emailed those 10 people because sandals sent you a really great deal, you'll close more sales with those 10 people than if you took an email list that someone gifted you or that you paid for, who never indicated that they wanted to be on your email list, don't know who you are, and you don't even know if they like to travel or what kind of travel they like. So the smaller, more engaged, intentional email list where people chose to be on it is always way more powerful than any list you were given. When we do events, sometimes our event partners will be like, hey, we'll give you the list. Like, okay, this is not the case here. Like, we're literally just showing up to do this because we love Travefy and they're our friends. But say, for example, Travefy said to me, Sandra, do you want the list of all the people who registered? I would say, no, thank you. 1,000%. And I run a coaching and marketing company for travel advisors. You're my ideal client, but I don't want that email list. Never in a million years would I say yes. What I would rather is to give you a whole bunch of resources where you can go look at it, discover it, and then choose to become part of our free community. I would never take the email list, even if I was offered it. And I know that it's tough when you're first starting out, or if you're still trying to make ends meet. I know, because I started my business with $40. I had no sales, no email subscribers, but you only want an email list full of people who chose to be on it.
One thing too, and we can do one more question here, but one thing I was going to mention too is on that, if you can say before we get off to just the links to your resources again, and also your Facebook group, because I know there'll be a lot of questions coming in that just didn't get answered during this time. So if you can share that one more time too.
Yeah, so what I would suggest, there's 18 open questions right now. I actually would really like to answer all of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in just our Facebook page in here. I'm just going to grab the link and I'll come back and post it in the chat. I want you to go over and to just give me like 5 minutes to create a space for you to do it on our page. Don't go and post your question.
Awesome.
It won't let you anyway. I'll go and make a post saying, ask me anything. So just give me 5 minutes after this. I'll go make a post. And if you're one of the 18 people that did not get their question answered right now, I can see you and I desperately want to answer them, but they come in as fast as we answer them. Then you can come over to the Facebook page and I will personally answer your question. Okay, so just give me 5 minutes at the end of this to go and make a post. It'll say, ask Sandra anything, and you can type your question in the comments and I'll answer you there. So we can do one more. Let's do Marjorie Green's question, and it says here, can you recommend where to get help defining ideal client and determining their needs? I want to focus my marketing on addressing my client's needs and desires, but I only have the most general idea of who my client is. They're a high earner, traveled internationally in the last 12 months. How can I help refining my ideal client's characteristics? That is exactly what we're doing at the Traffic and Conversion Experience. We're going to spend 2 full days literally getting all of this done. You will turn up and you'll have a workbook. There'll be no computers. You'll have a workbook, a good pen like this noted one, and you'll see we'll coach you and help you. And trust me, it's not the kind of experience where we just stand at the front and talk on a microphone. You can raise your hand, ask questions, we'll give answers. Remember, like between the Travefy team and the travel marketing and media team, you have every possible support that you need. So that would be my number one priority, my number one suggestion for you. If you have to forego other things this year in your business to get the best help you can, it would be to get more leads and close more sales. Okay, we are good. I'm so sorry. The questions are coming in faster than we can answer them, but I'm going to ahead and make that post. I'll put a picture of myself and it'll say, ask Sandra anything. And you can go ahead and ask me anything. And I will spend, what time is it? I will spend the next hour answering questions in there. And I will happily do so. I hope
That's
that
awesome.
you've had time with us today. Can you do me one quick favor? Can you do this? Can you type in the chat #best moment and tell me what your best moment was today, like your most favorite thing that you can take away for yourself? It's not about me, it's about you. What are you going to take away from today? Like, it might just be a particular thing that I said. It might be something that resonated with you. Maybe somebody else said something in the chat, but I always like to know what your best moment was. And then I'm going to sit here and, after I've answered all your questions for an hour, come back in and read all of these. Because it's really important to me that you have a takeaway, and I love seeing all the things that you're going to do to implement today. So I can't wait.
So many cool ones. Lots of aha moments today.
Good.
Really cool.
Good. Just got to turn those aha moments into action. From aha to action.
Love that.
You've got to do something to move yourself forward. Otherwise, this will.
Here on that. And that's awesome. And thanks for creating this community too, where, you know, people can go and ask all those questions, because that's the coolest part about everything, that, you know, there's all these good ideas, you have real life examples, and then we're all working together to help, you know, succeed. So it's really awesome. So thank you so much again. Yeah, this is incredible. It's always such a pleasure chatting with you. I love it. It's great. And you have so much great wisdom to share. It's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Make sure you tell other travel advisors about this to go into the Travefy portal and watch this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And head on over to the Facebook group. And I love that you're using your scheduling precisely. You have 1 hour. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know how today, so I know that I'm free until 12 p.m. So I'm going to use this time because it's not scheduled for anything else. I quickly checked my phone and I can see my echo in the background. I've got nothing between 11 and 12. So I'm going to go over now and I'm going to answer your questions.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much again. Seriously, amazing stuff. And thank you everyone for joining. Now head on over to the Facebook group. And again, academy.travefy.com, you'll find this recording. Just give me about an hour or so to get it up and it'll be ready. So thanks everyone. Thank you, Sandra.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.